Elected 4 times, a historical first, FDR became president in 1933 and served until 1945. He also lived with polio. Behind the scenes for years, Roosevelt's focus moved from politics to learning to live with paralysis. Because of the stigma surrounding people with disabilities, FDR downplayed his disability.
The 12 years FDR was president, a lot of stuff went down. The country was in the midst of the Great Depression, and I'm not talking about its mental health. Great is a misnomer. It was a bad economic downturn. In response, President Roosevelt created the New Deal, a program providing a safety net and job opportunities, restoring a sense of purpose and hope. Overseas, World War II was brewing. The attack on Pearl Harbor brought America into the fold. Roosevelt spearheaded massive wartime efforts until the war's end.
While establishing Social Security benefits and building the Pentagon, FDR was only able to walk short distances wearing iron braces, supporting himself with a cane, and often clinging to the arm of his son.
He often used a special wheelchair he designed himself, replacing the legs of a dining chair with bicycle-like wheels to be more discreet and easier to maneuver in inaccessible buildings. He asked that the press avoid photographing him walking, maneuvering, or being transferred from his car, a stipulation most members of the press respected, with the occasional journalist not honoring the request.
For context, in the 1920s, in an ableist society where discrimination favors able-bodied people, those living with disability were stigmatized and deeply mistreated. Many were put in asylums and banished from their families. Society cast them aside. With this in mind, it wasn't surprising FDR downplayed his disability. At the same time, he used his experience as a way of connecting with the public. When visiting wounded World War II soldiers, he remained in his wheelchair.
On a visit to Howard University, upon the request of the school president, the assembled student body watched FDR as he was lifted out of his car and walked slowly and painfully to the podium. He began the March of Dimes, an organization to combat polio. Many people recognized themselves in his story and struggles and looked to him for leadership and security during difficult times of the Great Depression and World War II. As FDR said,
"The only thing we have to fear is fear itself."
He drew courage and determination directly from his experience being disabled. FDR was encouraged to visit Warm Springs, Georgia, because the water there was reportedly therapeutic for paralyzed people. He went there for the first time in 1924 and bought the property in 1926.
It was a place where disabled people could live openly with all the support needed to enjoy life. And enjoy life they did. From picnicking to putting on theatrical plays, it was considered one of the first experiences in the independent living movement. He was so involved, they even called him Doc Roosevelt.
After a 12-year presidency, the longest in history, in 1945, Roosevelt died at Warm Springs. The world mourned. How would his life and legacy be remembered by those inspired by him and generations to come?